there once lived a little boy who, despite his kind heart, had a storm inside him, a temper he just couldn't seem to control. It wasn't that he was a bad kid. He laughed with his friends, helped his mother around the house, and even looked after the neighbor's dog when they were away. But when things didn't go his way, when he felt misunderstood, or when someone said something he didn't like, he exploded. Words would fly out of his mouth like darts, sharp and fast, and the people around him were often left hurt, confused, or even frightened. His father, a quiet man with kind eyes and a strong sense of wisdom, had watched this pattern grow worse with time. He didn't scold his son. Instead, one day after another angry outburst at dinner, he handed the boy a heavy bag of nails and a small hammer. Then he led him outside to the old wooden fence in their backyard. With a calm voice, he said, "Every time you lose your temper, I want you to come here and hammer a nail into this fence. Don't argue, just do it." The boy was confused. Nails? A fence? It didn't make much sense, but he agreed. That first day, he hammered 37 nails. His arms ached, his hands blistered. Each nail took effort, physically and emotionally. He pounded each one in with frustration, sometimes in tears, other times in silence. But by the end of the day, he stared at the fence, now pierced and battered with dozens of steel points, and something inside him started to shift. Over the next few days, the routine continued. Another angry outburst. Back to the fence. Another nail. But slowly, something began to happen that neither the boy nor his father could have fully predicted. As the days turned into weeks, the boy started to hesitate before yelling. He still felt anger rise up sometimes when his sister teased him, when he couldn't solve his homework, or when someone cut in front of him at school. But now, with each moment of rage, a new image would flash in his mind. The fence, the nails, the blisters on his hands, and he began asking himself a question he'd never asked before. Is it worth it? To his surprise, many times, the answer was no. The hammer grew dusty. The bag of nails sat untouched. His outbursts became less frequent. Some days, none at all. Then, one morning over breakfast, the boy looked up and said, "Dad, I didn't lose my temper yesterday. Not even once." His father smiled gently and replied, "That's a big step, son. I'm proud of you. And now, it's time for something new. From today on, every day you manage to stay calm, I want you to go to that same fence and pull one nail out." The boy was surprised. He hadn't expected a second task, but he understood. It wasn't just about stopping the anger. It was about building something new: patience, self-control, peace. So he began pulling the nails out one by one. Some days were harder than others. Sometimes he slipped up and lost his temper, and on those days, no nail came out. But he didn't give up. Slowly but surely, nail after nail was removed from the fence. It became more than a routine. It became a personal mission. And with each nail he pulled out, he felt lighter, stronger, like he was taking back control over something that had once controlled him. Finally, after many weeks, the day arrived. He stood in front of his father and said proudly, "They're all gone. Every nail. I did it." His father didn't say a word. He simply nodded, took his son by the hand, and walked with him to the fence. Together they stood there in silence, looking at the wood that once held the weight of so much anger. Then the father spoke, softly but clearly. His father gently pointed to the wooden boards. "You've done something remarkable," he said. "You've learned to control your temper. That takes strength, real strength. Most people go their whole lives without ever mastering that. The boy's chest swelled with pride, but then his father stepped closer to the fence, ran his fingers along the surface, and said quietly, "But look, the holes are still here." The boy's eyes followed his father's hand. The fence, though free of nails, was filled with scars, tiny, empty wounds where each nail had once been driven deep. "No matter how many nails you pull out," his father continued, "these marks will always remain. The fence will never be the same." The boy's smile faded. He hadn't thought about that. His father knelt beside him, placed a hand on his shoulder, and looked him in the eyes. "When you say things in anger, when you let your temper speak for you, you leave wounds in people just like these. You can apologize, you can try to make it right, but some wounds don't heal easily. Words can hurt more deeply than you think." There was a silence between them, a heavy, thoughtful silence. Then the boy nodded, tears welling in his eyes. He understood. From that day forward, the boy was different. Not just calmer, but wiser. He realized that real strength wasn't in shouting the loudest or winning every argument. It was in knowing when not to speak, when to breathe, when to walk away. Years later, he would become known as someone others turn to in moments of crisis, not because he had all the answers, but because he listened, because he stayed calm, because he'd once learned in the backyard with a bag of nails that our words matter, and that some scars never truly fade. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video. It helps us share more meaningful messages with the world. Have you ever said something in anger that you wish you could take back? Share your story in the comments. You never know who you might help by opening up. And if this story moved something in you, there's another powerful journey waiting. Just click the next video on your screen and keep going.